It appears the United States is about to offer the F-35 to India. This out of Asia Live. F-35A. U.S. to offer India F-35A stealth fighters amid growing China-Pakistan threats. The United States is reportedly preparing to formally offer the F-35A Lightning II fifth-generation stealth fighter to India by June 2025. In what is shaping up to be a landmark move with deep strategic implications. As China and Pakistan accelerate their own fifth-generation fighter programs, India finds itself at a crucial juncture, one that could define the Indian Air Force's combat edge for the next generation. Defense sources indicate that Washington's offer will not merely be an off-the-shelf F-35A units, but for a specifically customized variant, tailored to Indian operational doctrines and integrated seamlessly into its indigenous defense ecosystem. The announcement is expected to coincide with high-level defense dialogue between U.S. and Indian officials. India's interest in acquiring a fifth-generation combat aircraft is driven by an evolving threat matrix, including the increasing presence of stealth aircraft in its neighborhood. The People's Liberation Army Air Force has aggressively expanded its fleet of Changdao J-20 Mighty Dragon fighters, while Pakistan is expected to operationalize its Chinese-built Shenyang J-35A as early as 2026. Analysts argue that these developments have fundamentally altered the strategic calculus for India. New Delhi is now confronting a potential two-front conflict scenario with stealth-capable adversaries on both flanks. The Indian Air Force is still heavily reliant on Su-30 MKIs and aging MiG-29s and is seeking a transformative leap in air power. And you can totally understand the want to transform your air power, especially after what just happened. But just a couple months ago, the president said that he was wanting to offer the F-35 to India. Now, at that time, it wasn't a formal offer, but the president was open about it.
There's a cop.
Starting this year, we'll be increasing military sales.
There's a cop.
Starting this year, we'll be increasing military sales to India by many billions of dollars. We're also paving the way to ultimately provide India with the F-35 stealth fighters. In 2017, my administration revived and reinvigorated the Quad security partnership. In our meeting today, the Prime Minister and I reaffirmed that strong cooperation among the United States, India, Australia, and Japan. And it's crucial, really, to maintaining peace and prosperity, tranquility, even in the Indo-Pacific. In addition, the United States and India will be working together like never before to confront the threat of radical Islamic terrorism, a threat all over the world, actually.
So the president was obviously open to this at that time, and now it appears to be a formal offer that's going to be presented to India in June. And this follows on India just recently signing a defense agreement with France to order 26 more Rafale Marine carrier-based aircraft for $7.5 billion. So my question is, at this time, following the largest air battle since the Bekaa Valley in 1982, is the Rafale the correct decision for India? They've already signed the deal. I don't know if there's an out clause for them, but considering the results of what happened with their recent Operation Sindoor and the, loss of a Rafale fighter, at least one, Indians, you have to admit it, you lost a couple aircraft. I've had so many comments telling me that, no, there's no proof of it. There's no proof of it. CNN's anchor-in-chief national security analyst reports that a high-ranking French intelligence official told CNN that one Rafale fighter jet operated by the Indian Air Force was downed by Pakistan in what would mark the first time that one of the sophisticated French-made warplanes was lost in combat. That was backed up by the U.S. has assessed that a Pakistani Air Force shot down an Indian jet during India's airstrikes on Pakistani territory. A senior U.S. official assessed the latest assessments, tells me. So there were jets lost. And the French are sure one of them is a Rafale. So the Indians can deny it as much as they want. I think it's worth noting that even the United States, when we lost an aircraft, one of at the time, our most secret, sophisticated aircraft, that the only thing that was known about is that it dropped laser-guided bombs from a stealth platform. In 1999, an F-117 was shot down while bombing Serbia. We were public about it. We were public then, that day. Secretary of Defense William Christopher was out doing press conferences. Just admit it and learn from it, which is really what is important, is learning from it. So India has a dilemma. They're going to be offered the F-35. They have an indigenous stealth program. Their indigenous stealth program is due to release its prototype in 2028. Here it is.
The Defense Research and Development Organization, or DRDO, has completed the design phase of the Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft, or AMCA, India's indigenous fifth-generation stealth fighter jet. With government approvals secured in April last year, the project is now progressing toward its first prototype flight by late 2028. Designed with cutting-edge technology,
This is the aircraft carrier shelter you seized, previously owned by a small faction of about 8.
the AMCA aims to rival existing fifth-generation fighters like Russia's Su-57 and the US's F-35.
The aircraft model which you are showing in the back side, it is showing our manufacturing capability. We have come out with the design what we wanted as per the user requirements, that is the Air Force requirements. They have asked to make us fifth generation aircraft, twin engine based aircraft. So this all will give you, comparable to Sukhoi 57, or if you have seen F-35, it is comparable to that aircraft. That category it is.
It has the stealth capability. It has been designed with a diverter supersonic intake, which you can see. A host of new technologies which we have worked upon, which includes the internal weapon bay, which has an all complete glass cockpit, which has capability of beyond visual range missiles and air-to-air capability, air-to-ground capability. It's a complete 5.5 generation aircraft.
The AMCA is a twin-engine, single-seat stealth fighter designed for air superiority, strike missions, and electronic warfare. It's being developed in collaboration with multiple DRDO labs and private sector industries.
We are on the right track. As on day, we have already identified the industries for all this, the manufacturing, and we have already initiated several of the works towards that for the structural assemblies and the systems.
The AMCA program represents a major advancement in India's defense aviation sector, with production set to commence in the next decade. The Indian Air Force is expected to induct the aircraft as part of its long-term modernization strategy.
And that is India's proposed stealth fighter. I submit that there is actually an alternative. Now, the F-35 from the United States would be a great option for the Indian Air Force. At $82 million averaging per unit, there is another option. And this story reminded me of it. Indonesia to send fighter pilots to China in bold step towards operating J-10. The revelation emerged during a meeting between Indonesia's defense minister and Indonesian ambassador to China, as documented in an official post in the minister's X platform dated May 28th. I'll get to the relevant portion. We discussed the readiness of the TNI-AU pilot development for China for J-10 fighter training, as well as evolution of China defense manufacturing facilities it added. Shortly after the post began making rounds on regional defense monitoring platforms and international security forums, it was abruptly deleted. This revelation comes amid widespread reports suggesting that Indonesia is negotiating the acquisition of 42 second-hand J-10C fighters from China, aircraft that gained combat credibility after their stellar performance in the recent Pakistan-India aerial conflict. That's relevant because Indonesia had a different fighter program going on. They had a very different fighter program going on. They were partners with South Korea in their KF-21 4.5 generation fighter, but they pulled out. Now it appears that the UAE is stepping in. But what this presents is an opportunity for an Asian sphere of defense industry. South Korea, India, the South Korean capability in technology and moving forward and just flat out getting it done. Getting it done. And we're going to go through that here in just a moment. This program is well on its way. South Korea's KF-21 jet nears mass production milestone. And in this story, it goes through the innovative production techniques used to create the KF-21 by Korea Aerospace Industries. There's an opportunity here. There's a really big opportunity here for an Asian defense industrial base that is not based on United States technology and is not based on Chinese technology, but is a completely separate industrial base all to itself. You say KF-21 is a 4.5 generation fighter. That's true. At this time, it is. The KF-21 is instead aimed to transform the Boramae into an aircraft capable to rival fifth-generation fighter jets. The EX variant will incorporate an internal weapons bay to achieve this goal. An internal weapons bay would reduce the radar signature of the aircraft, given the weapons would be stowed internally as the F-22 and F-35, and would enable KF-21 to achieve true fifth-generation stealth characteristics. This jet is in the air. This jet is in the air currently. One of their partners backed out. There's no reason that a nation like India, with the financial means, the military know-how, and the mass production means to follow up, shouldn't get involved in something like the KF-21. Now, their unit cost is about $60 million per unit, about 20 to 40 billion, depending on the variant of the F-35. Less. Is its capabilities the same? No. Does it have to be the same? Not necessarily. If you're able to evolve this aircraft into a true fifth-generation fighter, then it doesn't have to have the same capabilities. It can have an indigenous capabilities, just like it says in the first article here, that defense sources indicate that they're not merely offering an off-the-shelf, but a specific, customized variant tailored to their indigenous defense ecosystem. So if they choose the F-35, that's gonna expand their capabilities greatly. I think if they choose the KF-21, they can make a generational leap in manufacturing, technological know-how, and self-reliance in the defense sphere. I wanted to bring this story to you because just a couple months ago, it was rumored this was going to happen, and now it appears that it is. If you like the video, hit the like. Hopefully subscribe. Share it with a friend. Let them know. F-35 might be flying over the skies of India. Or is there another option? We'll find out. I appreciate you. Thank you.